The former CEO of Waymo is throwing shade in a new interview, saying Tesla has aspired to compete with Waymo for nearly 10 years, but they still don't. They're a car company with a driver assist program. Hey, that's not going to get them where they need to go. So we're going to dig into some of his claims, figure out if he's talking crazy talk or if we are. I mean, you can help us decide in the comments below. That's certainly your job. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. My buddy Mark here from the Tesla Life, where they do a fantastic show every Wednesday live at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. at Eastern. I almost said Atlantic. Let's call it that from now on. 7 p.m. Atlantic. And yeah, Patrick and Casey and Mark do a fantastic job. They've got their fingers on the pulse, their ears to the ground, and their faces in cameras, which is quite the game of Twister. They pull it off.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you do good work, and I appreciate it. And
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, they respond to the live chat, sometimes just by giggling and not responding to the live chat.
That's if we recognize you.
How do I know this? Firsthand. By the way, I was watching your live stream from a taxi in Monterrey, Mexico with my buddy, and I was like, oh, I got to leave a comment. So I start posting comments, and he's like, he didn't realize it was live and that you guys were responding to me in real time. So that was kind of a fun moment. So we've got this fantastic story here. The former CEO of Waymo said, yeah, they haven't delivered a single fully autonomous revenue generating ride yet. Something Waymo is already doing 1 million times a month, you guys. If a company were serious about building a safe and accessible robotaxi business, it would look nothing like what was shown. The cost of a robust sensor set, including LiDAR, is trivial on a per mile basis. Wait, what? So we can agree that the price is non-trivial unless you divide it by 100,000 or 200,000. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah. Mark, the blackmail I'm charging you is reasonable on a daily basis. If you break down the bribe that I require for my silence to an hour, to a per mile basis, it's even cheaper.
Sounds like John's grasping at straws here.
Yeah. Well, if I'll tell you what, John, if Waymo was serious about getting their self-driving going, maybe they'd fire you. Oh, wait. No, I'm kidding. I tease. And actually, as I understand, he chose to leave the company. I covered it a couple of years ago on the Fast Charging podcast with B&B, with Bear's Workshop, where we determined, oh no, Waymo's nowhere close to solving this. If the CEO is leaving, that doesn't mean it's going to be solved in the next 6 months, even year. You would want to be there for the day it's solved.
You would not leave or set up a leave position if you knew it was going to be successful any day.
Yeah. By the way, huge thanks to Sawyer Merritt, who is always breaking the news. And here we are, fixing it. So this is the article that he is summarizing. He once again dismissed camera only and said that other companies in the US and China are still behind Waymo. You would say that, wouldn't you? I assume you've got a fair amount of stock.
Yep.
Because he looks well rested. I was watching some movie and there was a celebrity in it, and I said, man, I hoped I looked that good at that age. And my wife said, you've never looked that good at any age.
Oh, like, my.
Fair. That actually didn't happen. It's a story I made up because it's funny. Tesla has aspired to compete with Waymo for nearly 10 years. Yeah. Tesla made a splashy demonstration of its robotaxi prototype, Cybercab, a low-profile coupe with no steering wheel that seats 2 passengers, along with the Robovan. Wall Street wasn't impressed, and neither was this guy. If a company were serious about building a safe and accessible robotaxi business, it would look nothing like what was shown. Agree or disagree?
I think, I think John doesn't understand what a successful robotaxi business will look like in the future. I think he's judging this from his stock options, one. And secondly, he's judging this from what his company has done in the past. And that's not necessarily how to judge an industry. What that is you're kind of looking in the rearview mirror while not seeing what's coming in front of you.
Never ask a barber if you need a haircut. The ex-Waymo CEO joins many in the AV space who say that safe and reliable AVs require LiDAR and cameras to help them navigate their environment. They require both. We know because that's the only way we could do it.
That's right.
Now, I've had what I would call shortcomings on FSD, but they were not due to a limit of the perception of the vehicle. They were due to a limit of the judgment of the vehicle, of the planning of the vehicle. It saw what it needed to see. It just did something that I wouldn't want it to do. So that tells me that the sensors are not the issue. And if we're talking about, it's crazy. If your sensors are that expensive that you have to say the cost is minimal on a per mile basis, that means the costs are substantial. And if your car costs $100,000 and lasts 100,000 miles, your depreciation is $1 a mile. Well, we could get 200,000 miles. Maybe. I don't know if that's true if you're using those I-Paces. Maybe, but you're still at 50 cents a mile of depreciation. If the Cybercab goes 200,000, then you're talking 12 cents. Is that what it would be? I mean, it'd be, yeah, a quarter of that. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. 6 to 12 cents a mile. So a spokesman for Tesla did not respond to a request. I mean, you have to put that, I suppose, but you know perfectly well why they didn't. Now, if you were serious about building your autonomous business, in your Waymo, wouldn't you order, I don't know, 62,000 Chrysler Pacifica hybrids?
No.
7 years ago? 7 years ago, you guys were planning on scaling to 62,000 units, and you're still not at 1,000.
Yep. Sounds like they missed the mark on that one.
I am of the mindset that perhaps you should not be listened to about scaling, John. And again, no shade. I'm picking on John because I don't know him. I don't know anything about him, but I know that, you know, he's the barber.
Yep. And he's quoted in these articles. So
yes.
Guess what? You're fair game, John.
62,000 more in addition to the 20,000 I-Pace SUVs.
Yeah, which never materialized either.
Correct. And of course, next thing you know, Waymo retires its self-driving Chrysler Pacific minivan. More than 5 years ago, a newly minted Waymo took the wraps off what would become its first one. Yeah, Waymo never got close to the 62,000 minivan order. No, but the minivan did become a critical part of its commercialization plan. So cool. Boy, the sensor suite is so subtle, you just almost can't spot it. If you really look, you might be able to tell. I can't wait until one of them goes
they just
into a
need to
parking
make
garage.
it look like a hat, and then it would just fit in perfectly.
I mean, put some googly eyes on it. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, it's a new Pixar character.
That solves all your woes. Well, I suppose that means it's time.
There we go.
Works. Very good. Let's get into the Q&As. Oh my gosh. So this one is more just kind of general abuse, really.
So we're going to skip that one and move to the next.
No. It's always hilarious to see Westerners trying to understand China. You have no idea about the labor laws, company responsibilities, etc. Company housing is dirt cheap and often free, and it's meant to be temporary until the employees saved up enough to afford their own home. Great. Tell it to Foxconn. In China, a portion of your wages is held back to save up for that purchase, which has to be matched by the employer. If the company refuses to release it, the company's in trouble. Quick call from the government clears it up. And while it is typical for the Chinese to work a 12-hour shift, they get a 2-hour lunch. Companies have to provide some space and manner for workers to take a nap if they want to as well. My friend, Dave, you are making this sound worse. This is not better. I was saying that I would have loved to have a place to live near my work, and that through most of my adult life, that's not been possible because I had to work in the places where jobs were, and the homes in those places are prohibitively expensive. Your average Chinese citizen is able to save over 30% of their wages each year and has no debts. Okay. Yeah, that's great. All right, cool. I suppose. Any thoughts on that, or?
It's a different lifestyle compared to what the Western nations are used to. and
Yeah.
and wanting to take a nap at work never really put me as a place that I'd want to have a nap would be at work.
Hmm.
Besides, it could be dangerous. Second, just wouldn't feel good sleeping at work. Just
I would like
maybe
to,
that's a cultural difference too. I don't.
maybe it is. I would like to have a job where I don't need a nap, where I can work not 12 hours, 6 days a week. That's, that's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Um, I've had jobs working about that many hours and they crushed me. They absolutely crushed. If we're going to cover questions, we got to get into the fairest question of all. In the 1800s and early 1900s, what do we call that company's store except this is an order of magnitude? And the place is freaking huge. But the real question is, are they feeding them spiders instead of Scooby snacks? Inquiring minds want to know. So
Yes,
I
they
think,
are. Yes, they are, Highlander.
are they? Because I think they just get them at home for free. Because, I don't know if you know this, but it's just like the ducks at the park. You can take them. They're free. Nobody
They
owns them.
can't. You can't take the ducks at
You
the
can't?
park.
Whose ducks are they? It's not stealing.
They are nature's ducks. You're not allowed to
Nature's
just
ducks.
collect them and put them in your backyard.
What are you
Is that why I'm
talking
hearing
about?
all the quacking from your backyard lately?
Is you never heard of foraging? Come on. What makes you think the spouse or children would be with them? My understanding, it's usually just workers in these factory dormitories. So I looked it up. I could not find any reference to schools being on site. So this may be correct. It may just be, I found fitness facilities. I found medical facilities. I found leisure activities. But I did not find schools.
Yeah.
I found adult schools, like ongoing training and education schools,
Right.
but I did not. So you may be right on
Makes
that.
sense. Yeah.
That would make sense. Thank you for that, Dan JW. Aren't the giant lithium evaporation ponds in South America mining lithium from seawater using solar energy?
They're using the sun's energy, yes, to dry up uh, huge ponds of lithium and transfer the liquid or the sludge into separate ponds again to continue the drying process. There's lots of land and they use lots of water that evaporates in the process.
Yes, it is not seawater. This is not seawater refinement. That is a very different process that is very mechanically intensive. This is high mountains. This is in the high mountains where they pump a water solution underground to melt large deposits of lithium, to dissolve it and then bring it to the surface in that briny form, uh, and evaporate it that way. And the solar power, I mean, technically it is the sun, but so there's a bunch of things that I feel like have been kind of smooshed together here to make that story. So I'm not sure. Mining employees and subcontractors live on site frequently. What's the big deal? Yeah, I guess, but you can't locate a mine conveniently. You have to locate it wherever the deposit is.
Correct.
I would think that that's a different matter.
Yeah. I would agree.
See. Mark agrees. Did you mention where this BYD factory was? I did not. It's in Zhengzhou. Kind of, let's see, it'd be like northwest of Shanghai, kind of southeast of Beijing, kind of middle of nowhere. Let's see. This is just a very cynical, angry comment. I still gave it a heart, but so much left on the table. Reflecting back, I can see how Elon's hubris and utter stupidity has derailed the mission and tanked the future. We could have had small, efficient EVs years ago. We couldn't. Battery supply would not have been ready years ago. But no, let's waste a ton of time on the Cybertruck. Campers, nothing. Campers are a very, very small market.
Mm-hmm.
Efficient vans, those exist from other companies. They do not have adequate range for most use cases yet. Tesla does not have any special sauce that would make that work. And it is also a very small market. Nothing. I could go on. I brainstormed this for years now, wondering what they are doing. So many opportunities thrown away because of the psychotic, drug-addled lying and idiotic choices by a sick psychopathic megalomaniac. Very fair, very balanced. I appreciate you doing that for us. Thank you, Dana. I don't know what to tell you. having done the analysis, I don't share your conclusion that a van or camper would have been the right move. If you look at Rivian's van, if you look at BrightDrop, if you look at Ford, they're expensive vans and they have limited utility.
They do, but I would say that the smaller car would be a nice option to have. You're right. They couldn't make it in a large quantity because, of course, if you've got a cheaper car, it's going to sell gangbusters and you're going to need more batteries. And they have been battery constrained for quite some time. They're trying to get financially the most bang for their buck when it comes to selling their products so they can keep positive on the balance sheet as time goes along. And I understand that, but I would like a smaller car, and I would like it to be, 200 miles, 250 miles of range. I would love that. And to be more cost effective. Now we're waiting for something to happen halfway through this year, but we're still waiting.
We are definitely waiting. I would add to that, not only would they need vastly more batteries to make large scale. Compact will be large scale when it arrives. Should it arrive, it will be large scale. They would definitely need more batteries. 2 years ago, those batteries were not available. They also wanted to get to 48-volt architecture, and the supply chain would not have been ready to make millions of something. Easing it in on a low volume vehicle like the Cybertruck was helpful. I could make a whole video about why they should have done the compact first, and I've considered it. It's just a whole lot of work putting all the slides together. So I appreciate that. Guys, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Don't forget about my big April Fool's celebration coming up on, think April 1st.
It's coming.
Who knows? It could be April 2nd. That would really throw everyone for a loop.
Yes.
Yeah. And everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. Leave a comment. If it ends in a question mark, who knows? Maybe we will answer it. And head over to the Tesla Life, see what Mark and the gang are up to. Probably trouble. They're probably raising heck over there. And everybody else, like, subscribe, do what you do. And please do subscribe. It's how the channel grows. If I don't grow, then I can't put the little thing on the wall and measure it. So
and this week, of course, it's mandatory.
Oh yeah, I should have made it
mandatory. Should have led with that.
I should have led with subscription is if you made it this far, subscription is mandatory. Help me out. Alrighty, guys, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear from you, clever robots in a pool of evaporating lithium.
Oh, what a mess.
Don't do that.